Most people don't realize that there are 5 phases to marriage. So I want to go through them so that you can determine where your marriage is. That may help you understand how to navigate the waters that you find yourself in. So let's talk about that. The first phase of marriage we call euphoria. Now, some people call it the honeymoon stage, all right? But I call it euphoria because honeymoon gives the indication that, things are good and it's just great. And while in the beginning it may feel that way, I call it euphoria because the good feelings that you feel, they're not based in reality. So when you're in the euphoria phase, everything is great. You guys are in love, you're going on dates, you're spending time together, you're considerate, right? You're considering each other's feelings, you're extending a lot of grace, right? A lot of understanding, or if not understanding, you are at least not complaining about everything that you see because it's the beginning, right? Everything's great in the beginning. Phase 2, we call the reality phase. When you get to the reality phase, that's when you start to realize that the person you chose is not the person you thought you chose. Newsflash, nobody marries who they think they marry. Nobody. Think about it. Let's say your spouse is, 30 plus years old, right? So they've been doing life for over 30 years before you showed up. Now, when you show up, you guys have been together for 2 years. The 2 years you've been getting to know them. It's not possible for you to know who they are when they have another 30 plus years of history that you don't even know about yet. As a matter of fact, most people show up to adulthood, they don't know themselves. So if I've been on the planet for over 30 years and I don't know me, how you gonna know me in just 2 years? It doesn't make sense. Most of what we think we know about them, we make it up in our head. But as that reality starts to set in, we don't like it because we thought that the euphoria was real. And so what we end up doing, a lot of times we spend a whole lot of time fighting, trying to get back to euphoria, meaning get back to a place that was never real in the beginning. So you got euphoria, then you got reality. Now you have frustration. In the frustration phase, you are still holding on to your idea of a mate because you think you think you're married to who you chose. So you're holding on to this idea, but it's frustrating you. Frustration is always the result of unmet expectations. So the expectations you have, you don't realize are unrealistic. So you have these expectations for your partner that you don't realize you created these expectations before you ever met them. Phase 3 is why most people divorce. Unfortunately, they say, hey, look, I married the wrong person. This ain't gonna work. They're not gonna change, not realizing you're the one that needs to change. But they're not gonna change. And so, hey, we need to just call it quits. But if you can push through the frustration. See, let me tell you about me and my wife. When me and my wife was in our phase 3 of marriage, it was miserable. It was like misery on demand. We both decided divorce wasn't a reality we wanted to walk into. So while we were in phase 3, we only had 2 choices: either be miserable or grow. We chose to grow. So that then ushered us into phase 4. Phase 4 is the growth/learning phase. This is where you say, you know what? We obviously don't know what we're doing. No one taught us how to do marriage. We need to learn how to do what we signed up to do. See, at first you thought you got married for happiness, but now you realize, oh, happiness is not her responsibility, it's mine. Me feeling loved, watch this, is not her responsibility, it's mine. And so in phase 4, as I grow, I start to learn things about me that I need to fix instead of focusing on her and things she needs to fix. I spend more time looking in the mirror to see how I can be better instead of looking at her to see how she can be better. In phase 4, I embrace humility, right? It's where we learn how to communicate. It's where we learn how to resolve conflict effectively. It's where we learn how to create intimacy. Phase 4 is the crucial part of the marriage. Most people don't get here, but if you can get to phase 4, that's where you learn to divorce your idea so you can then stay married to your reality. Another way I like to say it is when you're working through phase 4, that's where you learn to divorce the fantasy in your head so that you can learn to love the stranger in your bed, right? That happens in phase 4. Now, as you are doing phase 4 and you're becoming an expert or a master, so to speak, at phase 4. And what is mastery? Mastery is being able to perform or do things at a level without conscious resources. Like the way you tie your shoe. Like you don't use any resources, no brain power, no whatever to tie your shoe. You just know how to do it. Well, that's mastery. You've mastered tying your shoes. In the same way, and that doesn't mean that you're perfect, because you can still mess up tying your shoe, even as simple as that is. But when you get to mastery of stage 4, stage 5 automatically just shows up. What's stage 5? The successful marriage stage. Now, the thing about stage 4 and 5 is they work in concert together. The way that you stay in phase 5 is by continuing to master phase 4. So basically, you will live in phase 4 forever so that you can experience phase 5. Does that make sense? Right? So your goal is to get from phase 2 or 3, wherever you are, to phase 4. Because once you get to phase 4 and you master that, phase 5 is inevitable. What phase do you feel like your marriage is in? Most marriages today, they are stuck in phase 3. They're stuck. They're teeter-tottering on divorce or just riding it out and becoming roommates. But I want to encourage you to get to stage 4. How do you get to stage 4? Make a decision. Make a choice that stage 3 is not my reality. This is not where I want to stay. I don't want to live here, right? When you make that choice, then you're going to do something. What are you going to do? You're going to start reading books. You're going to start attending seminars. You may get you a coach. You may join the Created for Connection Marriage Masterclass. I don't know, but you got to do something. Why? Because nobody taught you how to do marriage. And if you want to get to phase 5, you got to make the decision to get out of phase 3 to get to 4 so you guys can learn how to do what you signed up to do. If you don't do that and you're married, anything else would be uncivilized.